I'd like to speak to you about a multifaceted perception of divinity as given by the Ascended Masters and the Archangels through me within the White Star Temple. The temple isn't a literal temple, but rather it's an energy pattern. And within this energy pattern, during meditation, we can go into the high dimensions of existence and commune with them. At the beginning point of the temple, the Masters and Archangels very quickly established their perception of the divine. And they broke it down into three particular facets or aspects, keeping in mind, of course, that the Masters never put forward the information that they bring through as necessarily being truth. Because for them, the idea of truth is actually irrelevant. Because in the higher dimensions of existence, they understand that pure consciousness is fluid and ever-expanding and ever-changing. So the idea of holding something to be true and then true for all time, to them, doesn't make sense. Rather, they say to us, we bring you information that helps to facilitate your personal expansion and brings your mind into agreement with higher spiritual energies and concepts. So let's take a look at the first aspect. The first aspect that the Archangels and Ascended Masters defined of the divine presence is, of course, what we come to understand of and to refer to as God. And God may be defined by many means, by humanity. Sometimes we refer to God as literally God, as in the religious experience and tradition. But also, God may be referred to as, I guess, a living light, a living intelligence and presence. And for me, the most resonant definition would be to call love God, is to simply say that the divine within creation is our experience of love. Love in its purest and natural form that is unconditional and incredibly powerful. So powerful, in fact, that you and I were loved into existence by divinity. So I guess for we humans, the most direct experience of divinity is through love. That is how we have come to know about God and our connection to God. And we may also call it a living light. I know, having read quite a number of near-death experience books, which I find fascinating, that there is a common and recurring reference to, I guess, an all-encompassing light, a light of intelligence and a light of love. The Masters have said that light is the perceivable form of love, so that if we were to see love, then we would see light. But for us as humans in a physical dimension, our experience of love is through, of course, emotion. So we feel love. And it's also through action. Our experience of love is through the doing of love. We can see in ourselves and others when we are being loving, when we are making sacrifices in the name of love, when we are being affectionate, and so forth. So we may say that the first aspect of divinity is the experience and the empowerment of love. So let's move along to the second aspect of what we name divinity. So let's take a look at the second aspect of divinity, as brought forward by the Archangels and the Ascended Masters, as given through the White Star Temple. The The archangels spoke of themselves in a beautiful lecture given through me some time ago. And they talked about being an angelic presence or the one angelic mind. And they differentiated themselves from us by saying that they actually pre-exist creation. The angelic realm in which they reside is not of creation. And creation itself then is subsequent to the angelic realm. And as such, the angelic energies moves throughout the whole of creation, being the first thing to be brought into being. They have also likened themselves, because of their close proximity to divinity, as a halo that forms around God, affirming the existence of God and God's magnificence. So very beautiful analogies. Here, particularly in the West, there is a tendency for humans to perceive the angels and represent them as very fluffing beings, for want of a better word. But my experience of them is that they are incredibly powerful, not fluffy at all, and because their consciousness is different to ours, and because they predate or pre-exist creation, they have a feel to them that is quite extraordinary, but in one sense quite unfamiliar, because we don't actually have a frame of reference for their true nature. The angels have spoken of their perception of the Creator, and they say that the Creator, of course, is the aspect of divinity, which is creative. And when the Creator creates, it extends a part of itself into what it has created. We don't have a direct experience or perception of the Creator, precisely because the Creator pre-exists creation. But we do have the experience of the Creator through the aspect of itself that we know of as love. And also, we have, I guess, a concept of the Creator through what the Creator has actually created. So we know that our natural world here in the physical dimension is incredibly intricate and incredibly beautiful. And hopefully most of us come to realize how beautiful we ourselves also are. And we can see once more in the physical universe how breathtakingly beautiful that is as well. And also in the higher dimensions of existence that are not in physical form, there is great beauty. So we can extrapolate or come to understand that the Creator, in order to have created such beauty and such breathtaking intricacy that is creation, that the Creator itself must be all of these things and so much more. So we now next look to the third and all-encompassing aspect of divinity. The third aspect of the divine, as put forward by the archangels and the Ascended Masters, is the concept of the all that is, or sometimes called the source, sometimes called the void. So the idea of source is a very abstract one because, again, we don't have a frame of reference for it. We have no direct experience of the source of all. And in fact, even the archangels say that they themselves don't have direct experience of source, of the void. And we may liken the void to being absolutely all there is, that it encompasses both creation and the absence of creation, existence and non-existence, that it is everything. To the human mind, that's quite a leap to take. So as the source of all, we may say that when it brings its consciousness, if we may call it as such, remembering that it's impossible to define the source, the all that is. But we have to use language. So when source, when the all that is, brings its consciousness to a point of focus, it then becomes the creator. And then when the creator creates, it extends an aspect of itself into its creation, which we come to know of as God, light, or love, and so on. So the source of all encompasses the other two aspects. And I guess, once more, the only experience that we can have of the source of all is through its creator aspect of seeing what in fact exists for us. I know that the Masters have presented some meditations on the source of all, but they've always qualified this by saying that anything that they say in relation to the living existence of everything is simply going to be completely inaccurate, because we have to use language, that it will be an insufficient, tiny representation of what in fact cannot be named. There's a long religious tradition in certain cultures that actually refuses to define or name the source of all, the void, precisely for this reason. It's such a unknowable yet intensely sacred concept. Remembering that we ourselves and all of creation have arrived out of nothingness. And it's the nothingness where all potential lies. And when that potential is realized, then of course creation is created. And that's you and I and everything else. I remember reading a book and coming across what I considered to be a really great analogy for our very limited direct experience of God or divinity, particularly while we're in human form, where we seem to be so separate from the rest of the dimensions of existence. And the analogy was that we can liken ourselves to a baby in a mother's womb. And as a baby in a mother's womb, we can sense the mother. We can feel her. We know we're sustained by her. We sense her heartbeat. We sense her warmth, and so forth. But we don't actually have a direct experience of what the mother is. Only an experience of how we exist in relation to the mother. And it's not until the baby is birthed that it then has a concept of what the mother is, what the mother looks like, and so on. And I think that's a really great way of explaining how we really are limited here in this dimension in our perception of the divine. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview of the three aspects of divinity that the Ascended Masters and Angels have brought forth as part of the White Star Temple teachings. And if you'd like to explore further teachings, please do go to my website. And there's a whole lot of free lectures and messages that I make available there, as well as the original recordings of them, the many meditations that I bring through as a channel. And if you want to go further, there is actually a White Star Temple membership area where there's a whole lot of resources that I make available so that you can dive as deeply as you want into these beautiful teachings, and even more so the beautiful energies that come through the recordings. And I'd be very privileged if you explored any of these things. So thank you for your time, and all the best.